buy a beer in the neighborhood. Call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a hoop.
Welcome in 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray back on the night show here tonight. We're here till 9 o'clock as we'll take you up until the Celtics, who are on the West Coast. So at least we got 3 full hours with you here. Tonight we got Skaz here. We got, Jake's here. We got our intern Trent. We got ourselves a little bit of a night here. So we'll have some fun. It's Friday. Beautiful night. Basketball on our televisions. Sports in our weekends. It's all here tonight at 617-779-0985. What's up to our friends on YouTube? You can check in. Just go to youtube.com and then just search 98.5 The Sports Hub. I already see Tom and Bruins Luchador and Steven and 420 Fishing already in there. And it's all, you can just chat away. Chat away. So where do we start tonight? Well, we'll start with the opening take, which is brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. So new ownership for the Celtics. Not necessarily fully approved yet, but for all the talk about the new owner and what it'll do and what's next for the team, how does it impact the team on the court? It's fascinating what's going on with the Boston Celtics. Off a championship to, max players in their prime. That's why the Celtics are going to be able to sustain this, whatever happens with the with new ownership. Or can they? How does it impact the team on the court? From now until the rest of the year, there's not much to play for. There's not much to watch for the rest of the season. The storylines are, will the starting 5 get any reps? Will Porzingis get rested or continue to play? How much more does Jaylen Brown play? Does he want to get all NBA stuff? He can't. He has to play the next 9 games. How much will Tatum play down the stretch? Should Porzingis ramp up? I think that's an interesting question. Will Peyton Pritchard, 6th man of the year? There's just a lot of little storylines that just aren't worth the actual night show conversation. But new ownership, how does it impact the team on the court? I am looking at things as Wick and Pegs. I really do think that's an angle, and we'll watch for it. But let's get back to the court for a second. What's next for the Celtics? As of right now, most of them are at practice. I see a lot of the guys kind of having fun, being loose. But mentally, what does it mean for this team? They already had enough pressure on them trying to repeat. They're paying the luxury tax. They've been the favorite for most of the year. I know this week some lines changed on that one. But now, what are the internal things after the ownership change? And what can impact the players? I mean, think about it. Some of these players are probably now thinking about their future. Sam Hauser, he's probably like, I'm gone. Drew Holiday is probably thinking the same thing. How do they feel? Could that impact anything on the court for the rest of the way? We all want to see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown play together, stay together. For a long time, I always thought it was other people creating the narrative that maybe there was a problem. Or even Jason Kidd last year in the NBA Finals trying to say that, Jaylen Brown's the better player. Just trying to have strife between the two guys. Now I'm wondering, Tatum and Brown staying together? It might not be their own choice. It's the first time I felt that way between the both of them. So how does new ownership affect the Celtics on the court? Maybe they can't choose to stick together anymore. How about Brad Stevens? Met with all the potential owners before the sale happened. He is very important to the future of the Celtics. There's no doubt about it. He might be the most important guy. But what is the guarantee he wants to stay in Boston long-term or even rebuild? How does that affect the team on the court? There's already pressure on the season to repeat. The road will be harder this year. Missoula ball is a thing. Could it be a problem on the court? Is he even the long-term guy? How does it impact him? How does this move impact him? The Celtics' future as a team on the court is somewhat in limbo. I really hope the rest of this season isn't. And I've been consistent on this since last year. So anybody listening saying, oh, Joe, don't make a big deal about this. I think they're the most talented team in the NBA. I said that they would win playing the style that they did last year, and they did. I still think they can win a championship this year. I think this year they can win a championship without Porzingis. I think that the Celtics will win a championship when Jaylen Brown plays to his full potential. But how does new ownership affect him? I'm very curious about it. This sale, it's going to take a little bit to finally get settled. But I think one thing is clear. Teams will not be able to play those luxury tax penalties multiple years. Golden State finally had to do something about it. The new owner here, this isn't his toy. This is his livelihood now. We'll see if the deal goes through. I get some more coming up on that. But will it affect the Celtics on the court this year? I want people to really think about that. We're human. You've worked jobs before. Oh, we just got bought by so-and-so. Hell, our radio station, we used to be part of CBS. Now we're part of Beasley Media. Things change. You've all done this before. Like, you've worked at jobs where, we just got bought out by so-and-so. It's happened. So relate to it as it happened to you. What does it mean for the players? These guys, although they might not show it, there's a lot of egos out there. A lot of these guys want to know where they're going to send their kids to school next year, or how much playing time are they going to get? Where are you going to trade me now that I know I'm out the door? These things are real, and it's no different than your everyday life. Whether you work remote and they call you into the office 3 days a week. Things can change with new ownership, and that's why I wanted Pegs. And we'll get into him coming up in a little bit. Celtics tradition, just because you have a fan running the team, or so-called fan, where is the tradition? I hope it stays. I really do. Because previous ownership and the guy who didn't get the job said, luxury tax be damned. I felt it. I hope you did too. I'm just wondering if this whole entire actual sale is going to go through. Not sure how sticky it is. We'll get into all that. How does the new ownership affect the team on the court? We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. We're here till 9 o'clock tonight. We'll hear from Skaz. I heard Skaz and Matt McCarthy on my way home last night. You guys were playing a lot of audio. And I want to kind of kick around some stuff. Oh, speaking of kicking around, you see Wick Grossbeck on a media tour today and yesterday. We'll get into all that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray.
Georgetown, which is up on the North Shore, up by Newburyport, and I've been a Celtics fan forever. I grew up listening to Johnny Most, and the first instantiation was the JoJo White, Dave Cowens, Havlicek, and then it was Bird, McHale, Parrish, ML Carr, all those guys. Just to have that, the luxury of growing up with those teams, and how could you not be a fan growing up in New England when those teams were playing? And
Chism, who just was the leading partner to purchase the Boston Celtics. We'll get into him a little bit more later. But Skaz whispered in my ear, are you drinking the Kool-Aid on the Celtics' new owner being from here? I think that's what you whispered in my ear, Skaz.
Yeah, close enough.
I don't care. I don't care. I loved the Red Sox as a kid. Loved. When they sold to John Henry, I didn't care. You know why? Because they spent the money. Money, 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 money. Money, money. I don't want a guy, and I might be taking Skaz's take here, but I don't want a guy that wants the Celtics to be their livelihood. I want the Celtics to be somebody's little toy. We'll do Red Panda night, and then one night it's like we'll do Kowloon night, and then the next night it's like, whatever. I want it to be a toy. I want to just throw money everywhere. Now, it's a guy who the Celtics are what he owns. I shouldn't say what his group owns. So get ready for rate increases. Get ready for more merch. Get ready. Oh, you want 2008 banners? You'll get them. You want 2024 banners? You'll get them. Oh, if the repeat banner happens, oh, yeah. Like, that's how they're going to have to make their money. Listen, I know nothing. I'm not an investment guy, and I don't want to hear it. But to me, buying the Celtics at $6.1 billion is not an investment. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Celtics and all their banners and the history are worth more than $6.1 million. And I'm sure in a couple of years, it'll be evaluated around $7 billion or whatever it is. But I don't care that he's from here. Don't sell me on it. I don't care. Don't. So, Wick Grossbeck, sir, who I will say this. Let me be fair for anyone who thinks I'm insensitive or rude or I'm just another talking head. I'm from here. You're from here. I don't care that he is. Anyways, regarding Wick Grossbeck. Great governor. He's been a great governor. Wick's been a great governor. It's a fact. Spent on the team. Spent a lot of money every year on the team. And when they lost the Game 7, he was the guy that was pissed, and they went and made some big moves. Wick was behind it. Wick's also behind the teams being sold. So Wick Grossbeck gave a very candid interview about a bunch of things. And the first thing that there is when you hear about a new owner, the first thing we all say is, well, it's got to be an investment, so new stadium. Wick's comments today, it's not broken over there. And we have a great partnership with the Jacobs. There's room for one arena in Boston, not two. Because you need to have concerts and events to fill out the bill. And if we ever talked to the Jacobs, we all decided to renovate the Garden very seriously. There have been huge hundreds of millions of dollars of renovations. But if we ever decide to do anything, I'm sure we do it together and have both teams playing there. So that's Wick. Also, didn't yesterday Chism downplayed the arena situation? He said, I I really don't have to put much thought into that right now. There have been a lot of banners raised in that location where the Celtics are, so it's a pretty important part of history. We'll get to thinking about that, but it's also a decision down the road. So, decision down the road. Fine. You know, when the Red Sox when the Henry Group bought the Red Sox, Fenway Sports Group, I wanted a new stadium. Instead, they invested in Fenway Park. They brought in Larry Lucchino. They brought in people who knew how to work on the park. And at this point right now, Fenway Park's a museum. I didn't feel like that then. I hate sitting in the seats. I hate going there. It's the hottest place in the world. But you know what? It's Fenway. It's a destination. And people will just show up when they're in the city of Boston and you want to do a tour, you can just go right there and do a tour. So is there nostalgia to it and everything? I get it, but I really wanted that group to make a new stadium. It didn't happen. So after hearing Wick and Chism say it, I don't think there's going to be a new stadium. I'll leave it at that. How about issues with keeping the team together? That was my opening take tonight. How will the ownership group change affect the team on the court? This is what Wick said today. It's not the luxury tax bill, it's the basketball penalties. The new CBA was designed by the league to stop teams from going crazy. They decided that it's not just good enough to go after wallets because then fans are like, hey, find someone who can afford to spend whatsoever, $500 million. Grossbeck had the way that he talked about the penalties against the second apron, he's right. The Celtics are just one of 3 teams in that tax bracket. The Suns and Timberwolves are the other two. The Timberwolves are trying to figure out their ownership situation. But then next year is when things heat up. They'll have to make that first payment for Jason Tatum's Supermax. And the current Celtics roster is projected about $223 million in total cash. So that's going to push them about $17 million into the second apron. Now, they're not alone. Right? There are other teams that have spending issues. The basketball penalties mean that it's even more of a premium now to have your basketball general manager, your basketball president, be brilliant and lucky. He's talking about Brad Stevens here. You've got to navigate. You can't stay in the second apron. Nobody will. I predict the next 40 years, nobody is going to stay in the second apron for more than 2 years. Did you hear that, everybody? I hope you heard that. Wick Grossbeck himself said, I predict. Now we got predictions on tapes, guys. For the next 40 years, nobody is going to stay in the second apron for more than 2 years. So what is the solution there, Mr. Grossbeck? He pointed to Brad Stevens. Brought us the championship with his brilliant moves. He's looking at this. He's going to extend our window and we'll make it work. At least Grossbeck believes he will. And they'll find out in June or July what he'll do. The Celtics are really leaning on the stadium, keeping Tatum and Brown together, and Brad Stevens figuring it all out. What could possibly go wrong? Guys, what could possibly go wrong where the new Celtics ownership is leaning on the stadium with the Jacobs because they want to do everything together? Keeping Tatum and Brown together. Huh? And Brad Stevens figuring it all out. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, it sounds nice, doesn't it? Sounds good.
What could go wrong?
I think from a Celtics fan perspective, your biggest hope is that Tatum and Brown are together. If at any point they are separated, then ownership comes into question. And I think Brad Stevens, we had someone in the chat last night mentioned that Brad Stevens is kind of the guy to watch here. He might be the first domino if something was to go sideways or the Celtics are, not going to, keep Brown and Tatum and all that stuff. That, if Brad Stevens was ever to leave the Celtics, that's as damning as it could get. That would be the biggest red flag. So I'm kind of in that school of thought that as long as Brown and Tatum are here and Brad Stevens is in charge of basketball operations, I feel pretty good about the Celtics. I don't know how you couldn't, but it's kind of just a wait and see game right now. I think there are a lot of questions that come out of this, and Chisholm's finances are 1A or 1B right up there. It's just are they willing to do what it takes to keep this team together and to, keep them as perennial title contenders for years to come? They're certainly selling us that that's what they want to do.
Imagine putting upgrades in the TD Garden. Here's the other thing, and I maybe I haven't heard your answer on this. I did listen to you guys on my way home last night. By the way, I was the guy that was in when everybody hated that Felger was out. Like, I heard from a lot of people yesterday. Hey, Joe, where's Felger? Well, I'm in for him today. So everybody was pissed that Felger wasn't in yesterday when the big news happened. It's like, but I'm the guy that's there. Anyways, Skaz, do you think the ownership change can impact what happens on the court this season?
I would lean heavily no. I think B-Rob might have mentioned it last night when we had him on, that maybe there is some motivation for this group to kind of prove, if they repeat, it's harder to break them up. I like that, train of thought, especially if you're a Celtics fan, that if they do repeat, how could you possibly break up Tatum and Brown if they go back to back? So maybe in that sense, they can put pressure on the new ownership group by winning it all instead of, falling short, and then, that they could, use the excuse that, we had to change it up. They didn't win the title. So maybe from that player sense where, repeating puts more pressure on them to keep the group together.
What if like, okay, let's use your livelihood for a second here. You go from one company, Skaz, and you like your job at night, but then, new owners. Does that change how you come to work every day and work? You probably not. Do you think it bothers other people?
It's tough to say with guys like
I'm trying to relate it to real life. Like,
yeah, for me,
it happens.
I work it doesn't change for me.
But there are probably other people that you work with that are probably talking about it all the time and stressing about it.
People that it affects much more directly. Yeah.
And
I'm not that high on the totem pole, Joe.
Yes, but listen, that's how Baylor Sharman feels right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's too worried about it.
I don't think he's worried, but I don't know. Sam Hauser worried today? Is he now putting more pressure on himself to hit some big shots because if he gets traded, maybe that extra option, I don't know, maybe there's things there. I think this was terribly, terribly planned. With 13 games to go, they announce a new owner. Well, actually, that's probably a good question, too. Should they have waited until the playoffs? Was it good to get it away before the playoffs?
I say yes. If this dropped in the middle of the NBA Finals, just with, the media coverage, nationwide, even globally for the finals, questions during the finals and stuff like that, I think it's better that it happened now.
I almost wonder if it's better to do it in the playoffs because all you can do is focus on winning. Here, dude, Scott, there's 2 more weeks to go here of, let's call it what it is. They're going to be twiddling their thumbs. Is Jason Tatum going to visit the Soldiers Field Road, McDonald's at night? He's going to get free cone day at Dairy Queen? What's I'm curious the mental state. I think they're mentally tough for everything they've been through. And you know what? Some people probably think I am trying to stir something up here. I think it's real. Yes. I think there's something here. If they don't win the championship, I'm going to point to this. I will. All right. Take a little bit of a Celtics break. Is anybody out there? What's going on out today? Anybody there? Is it even nice outside? Felt like the wind. Holy smokes. I had people's barrels in their barrel. Actually, a barrel cover is dangerous, by the way. One of those things pops off a barrel and it flies into your windshield. Does that ever happen to you, Jake? He's listening. We'll go to break. I didn't write headlines, but I'll tell you what happened anyways. Coming up next.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Celtics in action tonight. We got the pregame here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. It all begins at 9 o'clock with the tip-off tonight at 9:30. Looking for an injury report. Not sure who's in or who is out tonight. NCAA tournament, and woof. I had a good day yesterday. Today is not going to plan. Baylor over Mississippi State, 75-72. St. Mary's with a 59-56 win over Vanderbilt. North Carolina, they're out. 71-64 losers. Colorado State wins 78-70 over Memphis. It was Iowa State 82, Lipscomb 55. Alabama snuck out a win against Robert Morris. Duke destroyed Mount St. Mary's 93-49. And in progress at the moment, Maryland leads Grand Canyon 71-55. Aaron Rodgers met with Pittsburgh today. Brandon Cooks has signed a one-year contract worth $13 million. Actually, it's a two-year contract worth $13 million with New Orleans. Headlines, they are brought to you by the Commuter Rail. If you're heading to the Garden for a game or concert or going to watch the college tourney, just take the train. Remember to ride with $10 weekends. Get tickets with the M-Ticket app now. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update, 30 minutes. There is anybody out there. And, well, Sean Grandy's out there. He just texted me. He's out in Utah. And Jaylen Brown out tonight. Markkanen and Collins. And Jaden Springer, of course, our good friend. Out for Utah tonight. So all the coverage coming up 9 o'clock, tip-off 9:30. Is anybody out there? 617-779-0985. For those watching on YouTube, you may see that displayed in front of me as a prop. You will see that we have a Surfside iced tea and vodka, the big boy, and we have a steak and cheese sub. And for those that don't know, this Monday is two things. It's Surf and Turf Day. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it Surf and Turf Day, but it's National Cheesesteak Day and National Cocktail Day. So you could have yourself a Surfside with a steak and cheese. Get it? Surf and Turf this Monday, the 24th. You can wash it down with a Surfside. And thanks to our friends over at Surfside today with the old Surf and Turf from Donahue's Bar and Grill, Bigelow Ave in Watertown. I've been there a bunch. I heard it was packed. Dana from Surfside was there. He said it was packed, and I wouldn't expect anything less with March Madness. And people are still, thirsty from St. Patrick's Day. But shout out to Surfside, shout out to Donahue's in Watertown, and, you get yourself a nice little steak bomb sandwich, steak and cheese with peppers, onions, tomatoes, and mushrooms. And, guys, that's what I'm eating at the moment. I might have moved around some of the things in there, but for the most part, it's great. And I should mention, too, not to mention that Trent is our intern. You guys know him. From New Jersey, but a Philly guy. So I think he knows a little something about a steak and cheese or a cheesesteak, whatever you want to call it. So I might get your opinion later on that, Trent. Anyways, the Celtics stuff is on the table. I did want to just mention something quickly, and then we'll get to your calls. But another wide receiver off the board today for the Patriots. Stephon Diggs was here yesterday. Today, Brandon Cooks off the table, 1 year, $13 million. Stephon Diggs had dinner in New England the other night. Yesterday, he basically did meetings, had a physical, and then he left. I don't know if he's going to come back. I think it was Zoe who floated out there. It might have been a 1 year, $16 million deal. So Cooks got 1 and 13, or 2 and 13, excuse me. And just to compare, Zoe said that his source wasn't a Patriot source. But yet, you wouldn't give Cooper Kupp 15? Is it the years? Is that what it is, or is it the money? See, I don't know. But again, Stephon Diggs was literally here. And whether you like him or not, you just got to face it. He's an upgrade. And he's cheap, I think. Is $16 million a year cheap, Skaz?
I mean, kind of. For what's
for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean.
Who's going to play less than 17 games?
Yeah, he probably missed the first 4 weeks or something, maybe 5 or 6. But, would you rather have Diggs or Kupp, Joe? I mean, they're probably going to end up with neither, so what's it matter? But it seems like I don't think Kupp was ever coming here because it seems like he was staying on the West Coast. That's where he's from. He's from Washington, went to, Eastern Washington with Kendrick Bourne. So I don't think Kupp was ever coming here, but Stephon Diggs, he's talent. They need talent, Joe.
He's talent. Okay, well, who would I rather have? I'd rather have Kupp in there. If you ask me the question, I'd rather have Kupp for the simple fact that I think he could really help out in that room. I don't care. You know what? It's funny with Stephon Diggs, guys. I don't care if he can help the room or not. I don't care if he does anything to Drake May. But I do think that they need a talent on their team at wide receiver. I'm in on Diggs. In. I just hate the reporting on it. The other thing that I despise is if Brandon Cooks is getting $13 million, does Diggs deserve more? Yeah. Maybe it's the same. But you know what you say to me, Scaz, all the time whenever we talk about like free agency and all that? You always are like, well, the Patriots have to do it. Now they can't even I think they still want Patriot deals. You're like, hey, you play a certain amount of games and we'll get you this. Why can't they just spend on somebody? Why?
Well, they can. They're just not doing it.
Why? I mean, it's always when Belichick was here, they did it. When Gerard Mayo was here for his one season, they operated this way. So I'm just kind of curious, like when Mike Vrabel came in, do you think he wanted to run things this way? Or is it just the way things are run in New England?
I mean, he got his defensive guys, didn't he? Carlton Davis got paid.
Certainly
Williams
did.
got paid.
Oh, they got their money. Yeah, just more defense. Can any of those guys play both ways? Like, can Carlton Davis play receiver? I don't know. By the way, these onion rings are absolutely unbelievable. These are like the best onion rings I've had. So would I rather good onion rings or a wide receiver? I mean, that's what the Patriots are doing. They want onion rings at their own cost. They won't go out and splurge for the bloomin' with the sauce. Anyway, 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray. Scaz is here. It's Friday night. We have steak and, well, we'll save the serve sides for later. Can't wait for those. Let's talk to Mark. He's in Norwood. Hey, Mark.
Hey, I called about the Celtics, but now they're getting nine other things to talk about.
You talk about whatever you want to talk about.
So I think this whole Wick Grossbeck in charge of the Celtics thing has been a fraud for 25 years. He's been in business as a business partner, and his best friend is Pelyuka for 25 years, and now he's going to sell the thing to somebody else. And maybe they're trying to squeeze the last nickel out of this thing, but it seems to me Pelyuka is the guy that they should have had the team and should have the team going forward. And it seems like this Chism guy didn't answer the question like, are you going to dismantle the team? Or, oh, yeah, we're all about championships. But he never said that he wasn't going to pay the freight on the players that are presently constituted.
Hey Mark, I have a question for you. Who do you think has been running the Celtics? Like before, who do you think ran the Celtics in 2002 when they got bought?
I don't know. I mean, who knows now? Like,
I think it was Danny Ainge.
It seems like
I think it was Danny Ainge.
I'm sure it was Danny. I'm sure it was Danny Ainge, and then handed it off to Stevens.
Brad,
and he's done a great job. But the whole Wick Grossbeck thing being in charge, that was a fraud. Pelyuka owned more of the team than he did, and so going back to the day, remember when Shaughnessy used to call somebody "Thanks, Dad"? Who was that? It's the same thing.
Was that Coco Chris? I don't know why I remember. I thought he said thanks. Anyway,
thanks, Dad. It was whoever owned the Celtics.
That part of it. Okay, yeah, Irv. Yeah.
Irv, exactly. Yeah. It's the same thing. The whole thing has been a fraud. So I don't know why you wouldn't listen. They could squeeze every last nickel out of this franchise, and I don't blame them. I guess but that guy's got more money than you could ever imagine. Why wouldn't you give? Pelyuka had a legitimate offer. Why wouldn't you have the team go to a guy who's been there forever and literally has the best interests of the team in mind rather than some guy who he's a hedge fund manager?
All right. Thanks, Mark. Sorry, I gotta let you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to hang up on you. You got anything on that, Scaz?
Well, when it comes to Pags, his bid was third, is what we've kind of learned today from, I think Axios had that.
Yep.
They did a good breakdown of the Celtics sale. It seems like Pags' bid was third, but one of the things about his bid was that it was fully, funded. And we're not sure that's the case with Chisholm. And then the caller at the beginning of that call mentions that Pags and Wick are best friends. I don't know if I believe that to be the case.
It was reported, I think, can we use Bill Simmons as a report, I guess, says that their relationship has, I shouldn't say dwindled.
Yeah, and
Hey, relationships, some people can still get along and don't have to be best friends.
yeah,
right?
and also just on the Axios thing, another interesting.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into this, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really good article. I'll put it in the YouTube chat. But just another little side note they have in there: the advisement firm that Wick hired. Let me just see. I wish I could get their
This
name.
was his soccer buddy, right?
So the co-CEO of the advisement firm that Wick hired played college soccer at Dartmouth with Bill Chisholm, so they are friendly. So just stating facts.
Just saying.
Just saying.
We're gonna give an autopsy on this thing, Skess. But you know what we're gonna do next? Bracket talk. And there's a big one this weekend, and it's local ties. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
one. And
we've played hard the whole year. We're going to be positive every day. You're the people being negative, being some of the fans. Larry Bird's not walking through that door, fans. Kevin McHale's not walking through that door, and Robert Parrish is not walking through that door. And if you expect them to walk through the door, they're going to be gray and old. And as soon as they realize that those three guys are not coming through that door, the better this town will be for all of us. The only thing we can do is work hard. And all this negativity that's in this town sucks. The only thing going to turn this around is being upbeat and positive like we are in that locker room.
That's right. So whether it was BU, New York Knicks, Providence, Kentucky, the Celtics, and Louisville, listen, Calipari did whatever he could to get recruits. Whether it was more moral high ground, Skaz, well, Pitino, he is a line stepper. He is a habitual line stepper.
There you go, Joe, a habitual line stepper.
So he goes to Louisville, and you know what happens? He gets a scandal. And then he goes to Greece. And what's he do there? Gets him to the EuroLeague season. Then he goes to Iona and gets him to the gets him to the tournament. And then he gets hired at St. John's. And what was the quote? What was the quote by Rick Pitino when he got to St. John's and now has them in the tournament? You know what his quote was? The main reason why he went to St. John's, his one main motivation was to keep coaching, to finally beat John Calipari in the tournament. Quote, I want to take St. John's to the Final Four so I can get rid of Calipari off my resume. I need this tomorrow. I need it.
And all this negativity that's in this town sucks.
I need this. And don't tell me stop talking college basketball, Joe. No. This is John Calipari, and this is Rick Pitino, two of the biggest, most polarizing, whether you want to call them college coaches, go ahead. But they were both here, and they were one was successful, and the other sucked. But you know what? You want to talk about two real, like Skaz, you know how I say Mount Rushmore of a-holes? Ho, ho, ho! We got a pair this weekend. I am ready for this. It is tomorrow, 2:40. I'm doing the remote with Big Jim, going home, and I'm in my chair, baby, for this one. I'm juiced. You see me? I'm goosed up for this.
Goosed up. Yeah, Joe, I'm right there with you. Obviously March Madness gets the people going, but I think this is different. This is, if you're a college basketball fan, and you said even if you're not really a college basketball fan, you know who Rick Pitino and John Calipari are. They're household names. They've been doing it for 30 plus years. I think this is appointment television tomorrow. If you're a sports fan, you think we get the white suit tomorrow, Joe?
Whatever it is, give it to me.
I want the white suit.
I want it all.
Might be a little early for the white suit, but round to 32.
I want pregame trash talk. I want someone from the other team to bump a guy in the layup line. I want both teams to I want a post game fight. No, what I mean, I don't mean a physical.
Pitino versus Cal.
Please. I need the refs. I need controversy. I need Calipari to complain about losing his best player when they lose. I can't wait for this one. I don't get jazzed up for college sports, but I'm ready, baby.
We're allowed to cross sports, Joe, at night. It's something we do every once in a while.
It's Friday night.
Rick Pitino, 72 years old, back to college, back to St. John's, bring a program back to relevancy. So it's possible. A 72-year-old can go to college, but he was a college coach before. So is that an advantage for him?
Huh. Are you saying a 72-year-old coach like Rick Pitino can get fired, go to Greece and Iona, and back to the Big East, and back to the Final Four? Is that what you're telling me?
I think people would have said that it would have been much harder for Rick Pitino to make it back to the Big East than Bill Belichick to make it back to the NFL.
I would have bet on that.
Just saying.
I would have bet on that one. Ooh, I like that.
So if you're...
We could kick that one around later.
Yeah, just saying.
All right. Well, I ate my steak and cheese.
Gave you a little juice, Joe.
Did you see that? I was goosed. I'm ready for this. All right. Well, that was supposed to be a short segment. We'll go to break. I'm Joe Murray. Well, we're not going to break. Headlines and then more next.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports.
He scored! What a blast by Boston! Waiting holiday dream. Good night! Oh!
WPCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics tonight, they take on Utah on the road. No Jaylen Brown for this one. All the coverage. It begins at 9 o'clock. Tip-off at 9:30. Florida right now all over number 16 Norfolk State, 24-5 in the first. Bunch of finals. Baylor over Mississippi State, 75-72. St. Mary's snuck out a win over Vanderbilt, 59-56. North Carolina's out. They lost to Ole Miss, 71-64. It was Colorado State, 78. Memphis, 70. So the 12-5 matchup once again hits. Maryland all over Grand Canyon, 81-49. Iowa State destroyed Lipscomb, 82-55. Alabama, they kept it close. Only a 9-point victory against Robert Morris. Duke scored 93 points against Mount St. Mary's. And there's more games coming up. Headlines are brought to you by Boston Prolotherapy. Don't let joint pain keep you off the course or trail. Eliminate that pain with Dr. Franke of Boston Prolotherapy. I'm Joe Murray. Next update soon.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
Here 98.5 The Sports Hub. The negativity that's just in this town sucks. That's an epic rant if there ever was one. March 1st, 2000. Wow. But you know what it was, guys? That was it. I remember when that happened. I very much remember. I think new ownership here with the old Celtics now is thinking that the ping pong balls are going to go their way once again. I brought it up earlier, but Brad Stevens staying here, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum staying together. What could possibly go wrong? I am going to stir that pot with a nice spoon. A big wooden spoon. Because I know how all you are. Because I'm you. Everyone listening. I work on the radio. I've been doing this 20 years, but I also worked real life jobs. I struggled like all you. Skaz did construction, okay? Like we are real people. So when I bring up ownership changes or your company got sold, I've been there too. It sucks. You don't know what's going on. And you know what they do? Then they change your payroll. And then you got to fix the way that you do your time off. And then everything changes. And then they start doing KPI calls and how many calls you do a day. It sucks. So nothing's going to change for the players. I think doing this now before the season, some people may think it's good. I don't. Anyways, the Celtics sale is very, very sticky. I've been dropping a lot of E's. Sticky, smelly, fishy. Is it sticky? The deal's not done. Really, seriously, I mentioned this yesterday. The only reason why my antenna is up is because of Pags. When he says, if the deal doesn't go through, that went through my veins. Just like I need Calipari Patino. Right through there. When I heard that, though, I'm like, deal's not done. Deal ain't done. Let me ask you guys a question. You would buy a house, right? You can close a house in 30 days. Does it always happen? Do you always close your house in 30 days? No. So here's what we know. Was Chism the highest bidder? Yes. He also agreed to allow Wick Grossbeck to remain as the CEO and governor until 2028. What's interesting about that last part is Grossbeck indicated he wanted, when he announced the auction last summer, that he wanted to do that. But it was dropped as a requirement somewhere along the way. Why was it dropped? Ha! But Chism smartly recognized its value. I bring up Jordan's furniture. Is it Elliot? Is that who it is? Elliot?
Yeah, Milliken's old boss.
Yeah, that's right. That guy, him and his brother there, they owned Jordan's Furniture. And then they got bought. And they said, you know what, Elliot? We should keep you on, man. And every year when the Red Sox do something, you can get free furniture. How many people have free furniture? And it's happened. All I'm saying is Chism. Smartly is the word from Axios. Recognized it. Remember, Wick doesn't really want to sell the team as 91-year-old father Irv does. For estate purposes, of course. And Irv has the much bigger stake. Does Chism have all the money? Oh, the money. No, he doesn't. His bid's not fully financed. And this is where it might get sticky. Particularly since one of the other bidders, existing owner and Bain Capital exec Steve Pagliuca, did submit a fully financed bid. Lower than Wick's price.
And without Wick as CEO.
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that first. But yeah, so
it seems like a very interesting stipulation that they're pointing out that Pagliuca did not want Wick to stay on.
Well, they didn't say that. It said I'm trying to find the quote. Albeit, yeah,
at a lower price and without Wick remaining as CEO.
Yeah, but smartly earlier the 2 paragraphs or whatever before that, smartly kept them.
Interesting.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I know. Freedom Mortgage Stan Middleman. He was the second highest bidder.
I say that's not a guy I want owning my team.
A guy named Middleman.
Yeah,
Out. But he had the highest price. Do you think Middleman was even considered here?
Tough to say.
Do you think he was at $6 billion and Chism was like, you know what? How about 6.1?
He's the owner of the Phillies, I believe. So, I don't know his background. I don't know how many billions he has.
Well, he had a higher price than Pagliuca, lower than Chism. So he was in the middle. He literally was the middleman.
Stan, middle.
We don't know if he was fully financed. We don't. Chism still has time since the NBA won't vote to approve the deal until June, but almost everyone has already seen the opportunity, most at a lower price, so his best chance is to pull some folks from the other 3 bidding groups. This is where I find it interesting. One thing to watch is if he can try to find some money from the other groups. Pagliuca will certainly try to hold his people firm as possible. Plan B, 4th place bidder Dan Friedkin already seems to have moved onto an NHL expansion effort in Houston. So, I don't know. Again, I'm not smart. What do I know? I'm just a guy who just likes to stir pots. Could Chism have to reach out to Pags to close the deal?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely a possibility. And I know you're getting there, but the thing that really sticks out to me is in the Axios report, they say, is this a private equity deal? And the answer is sort of. Chisholm is doing this as an individual. His firm, Symphony Technology Group, has no piece of it. But the bid is being backed, as you've mentioned multiple times, by a giant check from Sixth Street Partners, which is other NBA club interests, and there's almost certainly structure on there. So then it goes into say, Pagliuca's bid, for what it's worth, didn't include institutional money. And then a follow-up on this from Dan Premack, who is the business editor at Axios. He said, fun fact about the Celtics sale that he didn't have earlier when this article was published, Sixth Street is currently expected to put more actual money into the deal than Bill Chisholm. That said, a bunch of insider folks have told me that, A, that's not allowed. So this is either a disagreement on the rules or Chisholm thinks he can get a waiver for the process, which might be his plan, or the structure of the deal is very, very complex. So talk about minutia, Joe. Talk about moving parts. Bill Chisholm, the individual, is trying to buy the Celtics, but he is not putting up the most money. 6th Street appears to be putting up the most money. So then who's really in charge and whose team is it really would be my questions if that sale does go through.
Let me tell you a story. Again, I'm trying to relate this because we'll bore people to death with, like, the deal is this, Skaz, is this thing isn't a signed, sealed, delivered deal.
I like stories, Joe.
Yeah. Well, here's a story. I purchased my house. We got beat. Basically there was a higher bidder than myself. But you know what the owner liked about me? I had a better bank. I had a better mortgage company. And also my bank decided that they would close the deal faster than the other person's bank. So who'd they choose? Me. Not because it was me, because of my bank. So I know in the end that people look at it and say, well, they'll get the money somehow. And in this case, guys, a waiver is involved or illegal activity is involved. Right? I mean, let's be real. I think everything Pag said yesterday, although it might be in the defeat, right? In defeat. I want to read his thing. We'll do that on the other side, and we'll get to know Bill Chisholm a little bit more. But when people who know about deals and when people, I don't want to say leak information, but give, when these things come out, like, whenever there's breaking news, you got to do a press release, right? That press release had so much juicy gossip in it. I think Pags is pissed. And in a way, I really do think that Wick Grousbeck, to the caller's point from earlier, it's because I know that you were looking at it as like the team overall. That caller from Norwood that called in earlier, I almost wonder if this is about Wick hanging around. Like, in the end, did Wick really want to be the governor here? Like, it wasn't even his money. It's hard for me not to look at the guy who finished third. It is. The guy who we thought they would hand to in tradition of Celtic pride. Now it's to some guy that doesn't even have the money. Let's do more of this on the other side. If we're boring you, I apologize, but you know what? I'm not sorry. We'll have more coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe.
that I do feel. And yet the commitment to excellence that the teams had from, way back in the Red Auerbach, Bill Russell, Kuzi, all that, all the way to, to Wick and what he's done, and with his group, and with the team now with Brad and Joe, it's just, it's incredible. And, I, as Wick said, I want to raise banners. I want to raise them now, and I want to raise them in the future as well. And I look at what Wick has done and Brad has done and Joe has done, and the time is now. And they've also set the team up for the future as well. So that's part of the reason why, I come in here and we come in here as a new investor group. And, we're partnering with Wick here because he's done an amazing job. And if, you're just... Why would you change that?
Big day on Monday. It's also National Cocktail Day. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's Surf and Turf on Monday. So it's drink a Surfside, eat a steak and cheese. And today, our food that was brought here today is from Donahue's Bar and Grill, Bigelow Ave in Watertown. They provided the show with dinner tonight with the steak bomb sandwich. Steak and cheese with peppers, onions, tomatoes, and mushrooms. Thanks to Surfside, of course, for a part of this. Met Dana tonight. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. And again, if you're a bar or restaurant owner, all you got to do is go to surfside.com/surfside, surf and turf, and add your location to the list. It's as easy as that. Bill Chism. Know nothing about him. When I Googled him, I got nothing. And it's kind of funny about him because usually, about rich people. Like, how do you not know who's rich, right? But the new owner, Bill Chism, I feel like I almost said Bill Clinton. I don't know why. Bill Chism. He's only been quoted in the Wall Street Journal once. He isn't on the Bloomberg or Forbes billionaire list. The guy didn't even have a Wikipedia page before yesterday. Who is this guy? And you think that the deal's just going to go through seamlessly. Well, now he just bought the Boston Celtics, the largest North American franchise ever. The guy is just living the dream. From Georgetown. So for the people who want to know where Georgetown is, I don't know if you've heard the Skaz. It's a North Shore town. It's after Topsfield and Rowley, and it's like if you're on Route 1, okay, you're on Route 1, go past the Topsfield Fair, right? And about 5 or 6 miles down is Georgetown. So it is a North Shore town. It's just you don't hardly ever go there. And it's kind of near Newburyport, I guess, if you like it. Anyways, what is interesting about this story, and Skaz, I know you hinted to this one earlier. So for those that don't know, Wick Grousbeck was advised by the BDT and MSD partner group. Well, they have a co-CEO. His name is Greg Lemkow. It turns out Lemkow and Chism were college soccer teammates. Where? Dartmouth. So, Wick Grousbeck, the puppet, right? Not the owner because it's his dad's money. I'm paraphrasing. Don't get mad at me, Wick. Wick wants to stay in charge, but they took it out of the agreement, and then all of a sudden, Wick says, hey, Greg Lemkow, how you doing? You know me, right? Yeah. Well, hey, listen. Hey, Wick, let me tell you something. Let me tell you about this Bill Chism. We played soccer together at Dartmouth. We were captains. We were teammates. Tell me that isn't a conflict of interest. Tell me. So just to sweeten it up a little bit there, Grousbeck was advised by a group led by Greg Lemkow, who was literally soccer teammates with Chism at Dartmouth. So don't tell me that Pags didn't get hosed in some way. Now, here's where I will say the whole Pags thing. He finished third. If he wanted the team, did he have to be the highest bidder? It's weird because Wick is staying on. He said he was going to stay on, then they pulled it out of the deal, and then, oh, here we go. Lemkow and Chism, who are buddies, and Lemkow and Grossbeck, how did he get back in the deal? Interesting. Smelly. And you know what I'll drop in here? Suspect. I can see why some people might not like the way Wick Grossbeck looks right now. Oh, you know what else I learned about Chism, Skaz? Before Celtics playoff games last year, Bill Chism would play some Guns N' Roses. And he would do a hype video. What song do you think he would listen to? Welcome to the Jungle? What Guns N' Roses song gets Bill going? You know, like you know, in my head, if you're like, Joe, what's your favorite Guns N' Roses song? I probably think it's Mr. Brownstone. But that's quickly in my head. But I love a lot of Guns N' Roses songs. But there it is. There it is. Like, is this Bill Chism? Does he just rip off his
rip the suit jacket
his
off?
His tech suit. I was going to say his custom shirt. Is he a Mr. Sid guy? I don't know. But he rips it off, and then it's got what, the Dave Cowens jersey? Or who was his favorite player again? Do we even find that out? Or is it Paradise City? What is it? Does he want patience like the song? Does he whistle? Or You Could Be Mine? Like the Celtics? You Could Be Mine? Imagine that. Or is he on the night train? I'm on a night train. This guy's... I used to get pumped up listening to Guns N' Roses before this. Who is this guy? Talking about Johnny Most? Sean Grady's been going for a long time. Quack, quack. With Max. The guy goes back to... How old is this guy? How old is Bill Chism? Is it even going to show up? Bill Chism, age. Bill Chism, businessman. There he is. Oh, he's got a Wikipedia now. 87. Yeah. So that would have been the last year that the Celtics won a championship. That 87 year, but it was the 86 team. So basically, since he's gotten out of high school and went to Dartmouth, do you think that guy actually watches basketball? I know people think I'm crapping on him. I'm not. But this is what's supposed to hype us up. He's from here and he likes Guns N' Roses.
Joe, you're from here and you like Guns N' Roses, right?
Yeah, but do you see me wanting to buy the team? Listen, that's $6.1 billion. I don't even have what do you think the paperwork fee is on that deal? I'll take that. 6.1
team with the thief Marcus Camby and Lou Rowe. Here's a trivia question for you, Big Joe. Name the only college coach who has had 2 Final Four appearances vacated by the NCAA, meaning that neither one of the appearances, and one of them was a national championship, is actually listed in the NCAA record books.
Well, is it Coach
Who's
Cal?
that coach, Joe?
Is it Coach Cal?
Scumbag Calipari. You got it.
Oh, Ray. They're both. Well, I don't know if they're both.
I love the line earlier. It's like an a-hole bowl tomorrow, right?
Yeah. This is the Mount Rushmore of a-hole.
No, it is. It is. But I can't stand the fact that on my taxpayer dollars, and I have a daughter who graduated from UMass Amherst, that there's still, Shaughnessy had it in his column recently, tear down that statue to Caliparian in UMass.
I don't care. You know why?
I do. I care.
No. Listen, I don't want to dismiss your feelings. All right, don't think I'm doing that.
All right.
But okay, did you?
You're ragging all over Chism, and he hasn't even signed a deal yet. So
you're right.
I think at least Calipari has a track record that I can crap all over.
Yep, Calipari is a track.
Imagine that not once, Joe, but twice vacated by the NCAA. So neither one of those appearances are in the official record book.
You're right.
That's the guy you want to root for, right? Coach Cal.
Well, no, actually.
Yes.
Well, the reason why tomorrow I'm rooting.
I don't know who Scal is, but
That's Skaz.
I can't.
That's Skaz.
That guy is despicable and deplorable. Okay.
Why?
Everywhere he's gone, they've run him out of there. They ran him out of Kentucky.
No, they didn't. They actually begged to keep him.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, read the story. He went to Arkansas because
they paid him.
Yeah, he got money from a booster that had something to do with some meat.
He owns Tyson.
Tyson, there you go.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, classic Calipari. You know, if he was doing a collection of masks, there wouldn't be any donation for the science.
Ray, let's agree that Calipari is not a great human, but you know what?
Correct.
He's a great recruiter.
Okay. Yeah,
and can we go to Patino now? Can we go to Patino now? Should we bring up the hookers and all the other stuff or no? Wait, no, real quick. On Patino, though.
They ran him out of Louisville, too. He's another one.
Do you know why they ran him out of Louisville? He was getting prostitutes for the recruits.
And he had a lot of off-the-court transgressions, Joe.
Yes, that's it. So what I'm trying to say is, you can crap all over Calipari, and I know that you have a personal bias there because you spend money at UMass. But don't forget, Patino, that guy had to go to Greece. But
no, he's just they're both cut out of the same cloth, okay? and I wish that John Chaney had gone after Calipari back then. I remember that vividly. Yeah, so
appreciate you, Rick. Thank you, sir. My phone's you got to shut him down. Oh, there we go. He's off. What were you going to say?
I have a lot of issues with that call, Joe. You could argue that John Calipari did far more good for UMass than he did bad. Their only stint of relevancy ever is due to John Calipari. He also helped them build the Mullen Center. The Mullen Center doesn't exist without John Calipari. And his whole point that only one coach in the history of the NCAA has had 2 Final Four appearances vacated, also factually wrong. Rick Pitino in 2012 and 2013. Both were vacated. Huh. So just in the matter of facts.
Yeah, because Memphis was vacated. I know that because Derrick Rose had someone else take his SAT score. You know what's funny? I'm going to compare this to steroids. Everybody knew back then.
Oh, no, he was paying players. Ugh.
What's going on now?
Yes, they're all getting paid.
It was inevitable.
The library at UMass, I'm pretty sure, is named after Calipari.
Listen, I don't think he's a high character man.
He's in the UMass Hall of Fame. They reinstated him in 2024, last year.
Did Calipari screw UMass?
No.
Right, we both.
That was a very
we agree with that, right?
Us, yeah.
Calipari did not screw UMass.
I would say no.
Did Rick Pitino?
He screwed Louisville.
Did he screw Louisville?
I think so.
Did he screw the Celtics?
Yes.
Yes. And as Fred Toucher once said, you ruined the Celtics and hung up on him. That man tomorrow is playing for a chance at the Sweet 16 against John Calipari. Guys, this is a local story.
Rick Pitino, hello.
Good morning, guys.
You stink. You ruined the Celtics.
You ever hear that one, Jake? That's a true story. If Rick Pitino wanted to call in right now, I would take it. Yeah, there are 2 guys. Who's more polarizing than Cal and Pitino in college right now?
Oh, right now?
Right now.
No one, probably. Maybe Will Wade seems to ruffle a lot of feathers, but that's on a much smaller scale. You have to be really into college basketball to know that he's openly petitioning for other jobs while he's on a run.
Like Bill Self has some clout, Like how many? I think the dude from Creighton, McDermott's got clout for a small program. Mark Few, right?
Well, there's another guy that's had some issues.
I'm just saying. Do you think Bobby Knight was a saint? Was Bobby Knight a saint?
No.
I can give you a list. I don't even know who is a saint. Who is a saint?
Who? Roy. Roy.
Roy? Well, I'm sure I could find something about him.
A big Roy Williams guy.
All right. Well, we got a break because we got in or out coming up. Wow, really? He did upset about Cal. And he is right. I just crapped on a guy who hasn't been the owner yet. Did I crap on him? He likes Guns N' Roses. He played soccer in 1999. He's 56.
Young man.
But Most, he grew up on Johnny Most? Yeah, I guess Most was there in 86, right? I mean, I see the 1986 documentary on NBC Sports Boston all the time anyway, so I guess I should just shut up and go to break. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub. Bacon cheese with all the veggies on it. I picked around it a little bit. But yeah, I ate a couple of peppers. Whatever else was in there. Well, we got to get Trent's opinion on the steak and cheese because he's, Philly. He loves Philly. Justin's on the line from Ipswich. Hello, Justin.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. So get on to the Celtics ownership because I heard what you said about, like, if you have, like, a job or something, like, it's kind of like the same thing like that or something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to relate, me, I work on the radio, but, like,
yeah,
I worked real jobs before I got full-time here.
So I actually work at Market Basket in Raleigh. I've been there for, like, 17 years.
I know where it is, and you got a great family in the Demulas. I know there's been some issues there, right, at times.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you heard about the food wars 10 years ago, right? Like between them or something?
Yeah, where you going with it, though?
Look, I didn't know if I was going to get my job back, like, when I was out for 6 weeks, so I'm willing to give Bill Chism a chance here. Look, I'm happy that he wants to raise banners. What worries me is if we lose, like, the Jays or something, because if we lose the Jays, then I don't know if there's going to be any chance to give them.
All right, Justin. Well, thanks for your call. I'm sorry. I wish I could have an answer. Well, Skaz, let's do in or out.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
What is it gonna be, McFly?
Well, Joe, I wish I had an answer for you.
I feel bad. I love Market Basket. You've
had your ups and downs.
You know what, though? As sometimes when you love something, they're a punching bag. Did that resonate with a lot of people right there? Skaz, what do we have for in or out tonight?
All right, Joe, a Friday night edition of In or Out. And I have seen, we've gotten a lot of, people help out on the In or Outs every once in a while. I'll get them sent to me. I know you get them sent to you. A lot this time of year is about MLB food items. We are saving those. We will save those until we are closer to the season. I am, bookmarking, saving all of them. I have what feels like dozens, if not maybe hundreds of new food items coming to MLB parks this season. So we will be doing that at some point. Feel free to keep sending those my way.
Oh, yes. I'll tease one. But someone sent me a lot of hot dogs.
That's AI, Joe, unfortunately. But that one is fake. I've been doing my research.
Okay, well.
The Dog Bowl, I believe it was called.
In on the Dog Bowl, baby.
There's a ton of hot dogs. But yeah, so we will be doing a strictly MLB foods in or out at some point before the season.
Well, you ever get like Surfside? I was talking to Dana, and sometimes I want a bucket of seltzers, when I go out. Imagine just a bucket of popcorn, a bucket of dogs, a bucket of Cracker Jacks. You know what I like? You know how sometimes you get a cheese platter? And they have, like, little separate area, like, different kinds of cheeses. Or, like, I'm trying to think of another platter. Oh, you ever get that, like, Christmas food, the popcorn? And it's, like, sometimes it's kettle cooked, sometimes it's regular, sometimes it's, like, other things. Anyways. What were we talking about? What was that guy talking about?
I wish I had an answer for you, Joe. I have no idea. All right, Joe.
I'm full.
We'll try and do some in or out. Friday night edition. We'll start with sports. Joe, report today, Aaron Rodgers visiting the Steelers. Are you in or out on Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers?
In, because I wonder if he can just focus on playing football. Because there's been a lot of characters that have come through Pittsburgh. When they leave, they become problems. But when they're there, they're good. I think it might be the hardest spot for Rodgers, but it might be the one that's best for him too. Playing in that city with those receivers and that defense and running game and a coach, they need a quarterback. I'd do it. I would do it. Dude, look who they've had.
Yeah. Tomlin's done a good job over there. They've had, some, not great, when they've left Pittsburgh. Cincinnati as well. But, yeah, Rodgers to the Steelers, I guess it's interesting. Probably better than Russell Wilson at this point, but I would say they're both not great. Joe, sticking with the AFC North, though, Lamar Jackson will be making his acting debut in the new, I believe it's Stars maybe, or HBO, the show Power. Lamar Jackson making his acting debut. Joe Murray, are you in or out?
In. I've always thought of him as like a guy with a look for a movie. Now, I'm not going to get into football players who've been in movies because I don't want that tonight. No.
Dan Marino.
Yes.
Jimmy Johnson.
Lamar Jackson's. What's he playing? What's his character name?
That I don't know.
I see. That's what I would want. Like, The Wire. Have you seen it yet? The Wire.
Not all of it,
Dude.
but I've seen.
But just knowing that the boss Stringer, like it's just I need to know the name. Like Michael B. Jordan was the young kid who ran Hamsterdam. Did you ever heard of Hamsterdam?
No.
That was the area. Moving on.
All right, Joe, a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film is in the works with Glenn Powell interested in starring. Joe Murray, are we in or out on a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film with Glenn Powell?
In. I think these are always very well done. And, this is where I am a horror movie fan. I don't need the gore or anything like that, but I like classic films like Psycho. I like when they show the knife, but they don't show the killing. Like, you know what I mean? I like the aspect of it all. And, whatever. It's a new Chainsaw Massacre. Throw it at me. Why not? In.
All right, Joe, since it is March Madness, this is more of a college sports in general question, but Dan Hurley was asked about it this week, and Coach K has been pushing this. Apparently, this is his agenda behind the scenes. The Big East and the ACC potentially merging. Dan Hurley says he thinks it would make a ton of sense. Basketball programs in the ACC could really use that. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the ACC and the Big East potentially merging?
In. They need it. Both conferences, though, kind of suck, right? I know St. John's is really good this year. Marquette, I'm just trying to think of some of the other teams, but Creighton, right? They lost late, right? They need it. The ACC's been bad, Skaz. It's really bad. Look at UNC went down today, right? The ACC stinks. The ACC stinks in every sport. The ACC had an undefeated team in football and couldn't get them into the playoff. Or was it vice versa? Whatever. Who cares? My point is the ACC stinks. Just fact check me on that one. Did they not make the four, Skaz?
I'm sorry, I was talking to Jake.
Sorry, did Florida State make the playoff? The four they got held out, right? Because they were in the ACC.
I believe so.
Yeah, right. Sounds familiar. I don't want to fact check it now.
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, because they're why? They're in the ACC. The ACC stinks. You know what? The Big East needs the ACC, and the ACC needs the Big East. What will we call it?
Florida's in the SEC.
No, I know they are.
We're having two different conversations, I think, back here.
Oh, okay.
Who were you talking about?
I said the ACC stinks. Oh, I asked about Florida State.
Florida, okay.
When they didn't make the... Anyways. It's Friday night. You are right. We have multiple conversations going on. We even have a vacuum going. People don't know this. Yes, Jake's here tonight. Trent's here. Skaz is here. We had Street Team Joe here earlier. Luis is here.
Neil's here. Ryan Garvin in the building.
Ryan Garvin. Sean Silver's coming in that soon.
All right, Joe, you're a man that's headed to Vegas in a couple weeks. March Madness, a great time to be in Vegas. This from Las Vegas locally, the Twitter account. Tweeting out pictures of guys at the sportsbook during March Madness getting hydration IVs at the sportsbook. Joe Murray, are you in or out on getting a hydration IV while you're sitting at the sportsbook?
Oh, but just hear me out. You'll never hear me being like, you're soft. Look at you with your IV. You'll never hear me say that. I will never do that. And you know what? There are times where I do things and people are like, oh, you're soft. You couldn't do it yourself. No. Nope. I wanted someone else to do it. Like me, I could shave my own head and beard every day. But you know what? I get it groomed. And you know what else? They do my eyebrows. So when I see people with IVs, will I judge them? Yes. Do I care? Nope. But I'm out on that.
All right, Joe, we'll end with this one tonight. Now, we don't do politics. No politics on the night show is a staunch position that we hold. But this is a charity event, Joe, and it involves wrestling. So I figured you're the guy we have to ask. One Tim Waltz and one Glenn Jacobs, I believe, are rumored to be hosting.
Glenn Jacobs is Kane.
He certainly is Kane. And he's rumored to be hosting a charity wrestling match with Tim Waltz. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Kane in a charity wrestling match?
Okay, what happened? Some guy who doesn't know, knows Glenn Jacobs, probably made a wrestling reference about him because it's like cliche to do that. Is that what happened? Do people realize Glenn Jacobs is 6'10", 330 pounds of pure muscle? He's a Hall of Fame. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's an athlete. Like, that guy's an athlete. But an old man, that's what I'm saying, old man, political old man, said something about Glenn Jacobs, something probably to the effect of, we should have a match, something like that.
I have no idea what the context is.
Now I'm going to make it all up. This is great. It's like story. Hey, I saw WWE is looking for writers, so here I am. So he goes, all right, since you feel that way about me, let's sign up a match.
Got a little bit of breaking news, Joe. Not Patriots related. I'm not going to hit the sounder, but Joe,
is it a quarterback?
In or out? Yes. Jameis Winston has found a home. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Jameis Winston to the Giants?
In New York, dude's going to be everywhere.
If they draft a guy, I almost think Jameis starts the season.
I know Jameis Winston can throw passes to Malik Neighbors. I don't even need to, think about it. But how many interceptions? And the thing I like about Jameis more than anything these days is how humble he is. He's able to just say, hey, I threw 30 touchdowns. I threw 30, but don't forget, I threw those 30 touchdowns. So, in a way, I'm in on that. And who were they waiting on? They were waiting on Rodgers and Joe Flacco.
I think Jameis is...
I would go... Jameis has at least more upside than both, probably, right?
I would agree.
Well,
I mean, maybe...
Rodgers probably has the most upside, but he could retire.
He could tear his Achilles one snap into the season.
Flacco, I still think, though, has it, physically. I know he's older. I don't think he's, ancient or anything like that. He might be ancient in football terms, though. Jameis, huh? To the Big Apple. Yeah, and then where? He's going to be replacing Jimmy Johnson?
Oh, I would love to see Jameis on TV. I would be in on that.
You know who I really would love to see? Gronk and Jameis. Because Gronk's bro, where Jameis is I'm going to make fun of myself. And it's funny. In.
All right, Joe.
Just for giggles, Google's Paisano wants to let us know that Tim Waltz is 3 years older than Glenn Jacobs. But again, I don't.
Joe, it's for charity. None of it's. No one's getting injured.
Just say yes.
Just donate some money for a good cause. Why not?
Baby, just say yes. Just say yes. And then it will never happen like every other big fight that's ever happened in the world. Or when they have the fight, the guy's shoulder doesn't work. But he takes the money anyways. I would too. All right, well, we're late, huh? Well, this hour of the Sports Hub, everybody, has been brought to you by our good friends over at Valvoline and Oil Change. Go to getanoilchange.com to save 15% off your next drive-through oil change at Valvoline is an oil change, the official oil change of busy people. Take a break. We need headlines. We have a lot to do. We'll take your calls. We'll talk to you later. I'm Joe.
Don't go anywhere. There's
back here, 98.5 The Sports. If I'm Jockey sale that still isn't completed yet, and who knows when. We got to know Bill Chism. He loves Guns N' Roses. Oh, we found out about his wife, too. She is an author. Author? Yes. Her name is Kimberly Ford Chism. She's been a high school teacher and an adjunct professor. She lives mostly in California. An undergrad at Dartmouth. I don't know why I know all this, but it got sent to me because of one reason why. Her last book, her most successful book, was called Hump.
I'm sorry, Joe?
Hump. True Tales of Sex After Kids. So is this where the money's coming from? It's a thoughtful and engaging dive into the postpartum in the bedroom. Quote, I found myself surprisingly inspired and heartily concurring with the passionate Miss Ford. So, I don't know how educational this is for the audience, but if you want to learn more about Bill Chism, his wife is an author, and her most successful book is called Hump.
Yes, Joe, and apparently Bill Chism, new Celtics owner, came up with the title.
Oh, really?
That's what it says.
That's so I'm trying to find where the honey hole is. That's money. I'm talking money.
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
Where are they going to get the money? The money.
Just a little more on the Chisholms and Kimberly Ford here. Her great-grandfather, Joe, carved Mount Rushmore.
Oh. You're kidding me.
I just put it in Slack, Joe.
So wait a second. We know nothing about Bill Chism. I will say this about Bill Chism. Very charitable. From everything I read, this guy's a donor, very charitable. But his wife is an author of a book called Hump. Which, you know what? We've this station has been instrumental in book sales. A.J. Brown, remember over during the playoffs this year, was reading a book on the sidelines. It became a bestseller. Maybe this could be educational for our audience. Maybe. We should be mentioning this, and that it's important. The name of the book, just one more time, for those that want to learn more about it, it is called Hump. True Tales of Sex After Kids by Kimberly Ford. Kimberly Ford is a gift to every woman who left sex life after the maternity ward. Hump is a brainy and earthy and downright inspiring book. That from the Today Show of the segment Show and Tell. And there's just a song I have in my head right now that I really want to sing. Because I'm about to back. Okay, yeah.
Another one I won't read. Another chapter is called Snip, and another chapter is called Snap. So
Snip and Snap.
Some educational reading out there for the listeners if they'd like to know more about the Chisholms.
So we do have a research team tonight. May I ask how much this book is? I think that would be pretty important.
According to Jake, who's doing a lot of this research, the book is $20 on Amazon right now.
$20. I think this would be a great book for maybe spring break.
Joe, I think I know what I'm getting you for a stocking stuffer next year.
Nope, out. Actually, guys, I don't want this book, but I think it could be very, very educational for our audience.
I do have a very close friend that's having his first kid this upcoming summer. Maybe I'll have to send him a copy.
No, he loves the Celtics, right?
He's a huge Celtics fan.
Oh, that'd be great.
His bachelor party gift to his groomsmen were like Celtics flasks, basically. So might have to send him a copy of this book.
Well, I'm going to tell you, these two both sound like philanthropists. Whoa, I couldn't say that one. For real, though. He owns a tech company, and she's a writer. There's a lot more to this one.
And Joe, don't forget her great-grandfather carved Mount Rushmore.
Okay, can you give me more? So there's carvers for this thing? Is that where the money is? Is that the honey hole? Again, I keep using the word honey hole. When I worked in sales, right, we used to have like a really good lead list. We'd always call the lead list the honey hole. Like where you go when you you need to hit that bonus. So I'm just curious, like, does Billy Boy, does his family have a little bit of a nest egg? One that might be of Mount Rushmore itself?
Yeah, so apparently John Gutzen de la Moth Borglum is her, yes, that was a mouthful, is her great-grandfather. He was an American sculptor, best known for his work on Mount Rushmore, also associated with various other public works of art across the U.S., including Stone Mountain in Georgia, a bust of Abraham Lincoln that has been exhibited in the White House by Teddy Roosevelt and is now held in the United States Capitol crypt. So I would say a very well-known sculptor.
If you made a president on Mount Rushmore, you got to have some dough.
Yes, and apparently Kimberly Ford has published some reading, I don't know, an essay, an opinion piece, where she has called for the removal of Mount Rushmore. So yes, but her great-grandfather did carve Mount Rushmore in the early 1940s.
Do you know who would give us a lot more on this? Sean Silver. I know you're listening, Sean. You're coming in here. You're going to work the Celtics tonight.
Sean Silver has texted.
Oh, okay. There we go. I knew it. How did I know this?
He just texted humping around. Was
Oh, Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown is what he said.
Ain't nobody humping around. I went with do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. What's another hump song? Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump. Ain't nobody humping around. That was a big Bobby Brown hit in like 1995.
It's like Kimberly. She could be the new Dr. Ruth. Maybe, you know, she could take on that role.
Are there any owners? Oh, Jeannie Buss. I'm trying to think of
Hallis, McCaskey there,
which
Virginia.
She's no longer with us.
Oh, that's right. My apologies. I forgot about that.
Put respect.
101. Yes, that was very recent.
The Bears.
The Bears. Yes. The Bears.
I'll leave with this one. Written with honest style and wit, Ford's stories assure us that a lifetime of passionate humping can be ours.
Just one more piece to tie it back into wrestling, Joe. Sean Silver checking in once again. Stone Mountain, Georgia. The other work he's famous for is the home of
the Big Boss Man, right?
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, wow, I mixed it up.
So it always comes back to wrestling.
The Big Boss Man was, you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia? But Stone Mountain was the man himself, Jake the Snake Roberts, who I believe is coming to Kowloon. Or I met him there, at least, before. Passionate humping can be ours. Wow. Did you guys didn't get into all this last night, did you?
I was unaware of hump last night, Joe. I will say that's on us for not doing our research. But that's why Jake and Trent are here.
Yes.
And they're doing fantastic work tonight.
You know what? Skaz, let's be honest, okay? This isn't, please, management, this is not a shot at you. But imagine when we have more hands on deck, what we could uncover.
It's almost scary, Joe.
We
might be better off, just on our own.
That's what they're saying. They're like, no.
Yeah, get ourselves in trouble.
We got to go to break. I'm Joe Mario of the Sports Hub. Well, thanks for your call. I'm sorry. I wish I could have an answer. going to come from? A Mount Rushmore. Isn't this the funniest thing for this show, though? Remember when asked, hey, what's the number one thing you hate is Mount Rushmore talk? And the damn owner of the Celtics' wife has literally a connection to the guy who made Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I guess, we talk about doing Rushmores in the dead period of sports talk radio. Maybe it has some relevancy again.
How does Pags feel about this? I feel like this is sexual exploitation for the job. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke. I went too far. Pags must be pissed. Oh, Pags is pissed. This sounds like, I don't even want to say it. This sounds like there's a lot of hands in the cookie jar. Because the money's coming from somewhere. Pags, well, he got a group. Anything else? Anything else you want to add to the book?
Nope.
Any other findings or anything like that?
None for on the air, Joe. We're doing some research back here. Maybe another day. We'll pace ourselves.
How's Brokerage Babe doing? Is she in the chat tonight?
She has purchased the book, Joe. Says we will get a full report. She says it will be at her house on Sunday.
I think we need her to call in.
A book report.
Yes. The book report, babe. Who I have met and is just a darling, I have to tell you. I would like that. Can't read the chat right now. Don't read the chat, Joe. Wow, this show really went off the rails. We didn't even have a full show.
I never know where the night show is going to go, Joe. I certainly didn't have it going here tonight.
Oh, I listened to you and Matt on the way home last night, and you guys had all the sound because I worked with Jim and Maz, so I didn't get like the interviews. I didn't get to hear or react. So today was the first day I reacted. But, sometimes you just got to dig a little deeper sometimes,
I hope to hear, I know you'll be at Kelly's tomorrow. You have your hands full. But I'd like to, hopefully Jim Murray has some thoughts on our findings tonight.
I can't wait to see Jim tomorrow. I'm not even going to email him tonight. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be like, dude, do you know about Hump?
No comment.
All right, Joe Me the Money next. What a night. Joe Me the Money next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential.
is a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money. Yo!
Spot for a Glock. I took a long overfloss, but still got a knock.
Money! Jerry, does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it with meaning, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
Yeah, no. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother, but you got to yell at me.
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
What do we got for the Revs? The Revs playing tomorrow? What do we got? You want a Revs bet too? I got a
Revs are off this week.
All right.
Now take the under.
Who else can we bet? What else can we bet? What do we got for the Celtics tonight? What's their line? Ooh, 15.5 tonight. Under 226.5. Under. First game of a long road trip. New owner. Slow start. They're all reading that book. It's just going to be a tough night. I want to know what Trent thinks about the cheesesteak. I'll let everyone know what Monday is one more time. And then we'll wrap this thing up here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's
You know how it works on a Friday, everybody. Show goes off the rails. It's just what happened. I hope that was entertaining, just as for me as much as it was for all of you. And it was. It was for me. So I hope it was for you. Just wanted to thank our friends over at Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. You can celebrate National Cheesesteak Day and National Cocktail Day this Monday, March 24th, with a surf and turf, a cheesesteak, and a Surfside. Go to drinksurfside.com/Surfside Surf and Turf to see participating surf and turf locations. Donahue's Bar, want to thank them tonight. They're on Bigelow Ave in Watertown. They provided us tonight with steak bombs. They were awesome. Steak and cheese, peppers, onions, tomatoes. It was absolutely incredible. Thanks to Surfside for making that happen. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. And if you are a bar or restaurant owner, you can go to surfside.com/Surfside Surf and Turf. Add your location to the list. It's as easy as that. Trent's our intern. He's back there. I can see him. Trent, have you ever had a steak and cheese sub in Massachusetts before? I don't know if he can hear me. Nope, he can't. Never mind. I was going to let him give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Also, programming note, I will be with Big Jim Murray tomorrow. Jim and I will be at the Kellys in Saugus on Route 1. We'll be broadcasting live from Kelly's on Route 1 tomorrow from 11 to 2. So that I am looking forward to. I don't work Saturdays, but unless Jim wants me to work and unless Kelly's is involved, that's when I work. So we got that tomorrow. Skaz is out the next couple of days next week. We have West Coast Bruins and I think some more West Coast Celtics as well. So we will have live shows. So wanted to just keep you all up to date on that. And, of course, the Celtics coming up in just a little bit. Just to recap everything from the day, just non-Celtic stuff. When it comes to wide receivers, Patriots missed another one today. Brandon Cooks, former Patriot, is going back to New Orleans. Signed a 2-year deal, but he's getting $13 million a year. The report was from Zoe, not from the Patriots. 1 year, $16 million, and he walked from it. So, to me, that sounds like a good deal. Why did he walk away? Was it the Patriots? Was it his health? What was it? Was there even an offer? I guess we don't know. But a lot to uncover there when it comes to the Patriots. Also should probably mention that with everything that's going on in the draft, today they were really excited about Membo. So when you look at these tackles in the draft, do they love Campbell? Do they love Membo? Is it Simmons from Ohio State? The more I look at it, I need to know how this thing's going to shape up in the end. Today, with Jameis Winston signing with the Giants, does that mean Shedeur Sanders could get drafted and Winston be the starter? If that's the case, the Pats sit at 4. If Cam Ward is the other quarterback off the board, that leaves Abdul Carter. I don't think there's a chance that both Carter and Hunter are available, but let's just play hypothetical. I think the Patriots in that case would take Carter. I would go Hunter. But they need a pass rusher, man, and it's hard to overlook that, not to mention Vrabel being a defensive-minded coach. Can't wait for the draft. Just a couple of weeks away? 3 weeks away? From the draft should be, that's the 24th. So, yeah, we're about a month away. We got our brackets going. I actually don't really care about my bracket, but there's some games tonight that I'm looking forward to. I mentioned the UConn game earlier. Kentucky's up right now. Sean Silver's here. Yeah, how did I know that you were gonna? Sean, get on the mic. Can we got to pawn him up, or you might have to hit that. See this button furthest. There you go. Say hi.
Hey.
Nope.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Wait, am I up
there we
now?
go. There you go.
There we go.
Wow, it's like you're running an old board.
I know how to run a board.
How are you?
91.5 WMFO days.
That's right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I do have to ask you one question though, Joe. Did you think that I was going to chime in when I chimed in because the book Hump, subject being, sex after having kids?
No, it had nothing to do with you. No.
Whoa.
You
put me in a box here because I'm 98.5 the sports dad? I mean, what's going on?
No, actually, the reason why I thought of you was because I thought that you would look into the intellectual part of it.
Oh, that's always.
I thought that
that's
you.
a given.
I thought that you would look at it in a. But you know what? I know we got about 3 minutes to go, and you're going to be working the Celtics game tonight. Yeah. You're doing God's work. Thank you.
Yeah,
I get to leave early.
Almost Mountain Time game, right? West Coast game.
How are you feeling about this? Here's the question. Here's my question.
Yeah.
Do you think this sale of the team could impact them on the floor this season?
No.
Really?
No, and I think, if you look at it historically, the Celtics have been sold many times over. And the most impactful sale was, back in the 70s, and we don't need to get into the details of that. But, like the number one up in the number 1 and 2 are up in the balcony, right? One is for Red Auerbach, one is for Walter Brown, 2 is for Red Auerbach up in the rafters. So Walter Brown's ownership ended in the mid-60s. They kept winning championships. Harry Manjurian owned the team in the late 70s, early 80s when Bird, Parrish, and McHale came in. He was out in 83, 84. He couldn't get along with the Jacobses. They kept winning championships. Ownership has changed. I know times have changed, but the Celtics have been stable through ownership changes before. Obviously, now we are talking money that is way off the scale from what it was in the 60s or the 80s. But as far as this season, this is just procedural. This is just the books. This team is built to win a championship this year. I think it has no effect.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? If it has an effect, I'm going to remember this day.
Go ahead.
The day we discovered Hump. My humps.
I like that.
All right. Well, you know what? You make a good point. No one has mentioned that yet.
A couple years down the line, very possible. But right now, I expect Wick is still in the Brad's still in the driver's seat. His team, if they're healthy, they're built to win.
What could go wrong? Tatum and Brown, Brad Stevens. What could possibly go wrong? That's what Rick Pitino said when he took over. By the way, in 30 seconds or less, Pitino, Calipari tomorrow. Oh, I need this.
Wow.
I can't. Juicy. I'm going to go home and watch this tomorrow.